Hello there, dear friends, and welcome once again to the Relaxed Fantasy Review. Today, I am answering a question that was asked inside of my comments. Someone brought up the fact that although I've done mechanical reviews for the classes, the subclasses, and the races of D&D, there's a couple things I haven't covered in the base books. We're going to talk about Tasha's Cauldron of Everything again. Yes, we haven't quite finished with Tasha's amazing book, because it turns out that although I discussed all the subclasses that were added in the book, there's actually some base class features, optional features, that the new D&D, the one that's coming out in September and beyond, is actually going to be adding to the core features. Lots of the ones that were used in Tasha's as optional features are coming as primary features. So we're going to be talking about all the optional features in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything for all of the classes, everything from Barbarian all the way to Wizard, and discussing them in brief. Before we get to the video, though, I'd like to let you know, Relaxed Fantasy Review has memberships. For just $1 a month, you can support me here on YouTube and get a couple benefits. First, you get a little badge next to your name in the comments, letting folks know that you're a supporter, but also you get early access to my videos. I upload videos Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I upload them a day early for members only. If that interests you, you can click the join button just down there below the video. I'd love to see you in the comments. And if it doesn't, that's totally fine. Just watching the video, liking and subscribing, all the classic stuff, supports me in a great way. So thank you for being here and watching my content. So let's start with the Barbarian. Barbarians get two optional features in Tasha's. The first is Primal Knowledge. This grants the Barbarian an extra skill proficiency that just gives them an extra skill proficiency from the list in the player's handbook. Normally they only get 2, now they get 3. The Barbarian isn't known for their skills, but adding one more proficiency gives them a little bit more out-of-combat utility, I guess. Can't complain, really. I'd say 8 out of 10 for that. They also get the Instinctive Pounce power. This says that when they rage, as the same bonus action they use to enter their rage, they can move up to half their movement speed. This gives them that extra little push at the beginning of combat, allowing them to get into wherever they need to go. This is a nice feature that, overcomes a lot of the issues that some barbarians have at the beginning of fighting, having to get into the thick of it. I say 9 out of 10 for this. One thing I should mention as we move forward is that all spellcasters got extra spells on their spell list, additional spells added. Some of them are new to Tasha's, some of them are from the player's handbook, and they're just added. I'm not going to cover those because every caster got a bunch of new spells, and most of them are awesome, so we're just going to say that that's a good thing. Bard is the next one. They get Magical Inspiration. Normally, when you grant a creature Bardic Inspiration, they get a special die that they can use to add to an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw. But this says that they can also add it to the damage that they do or to the healing that they do of spells. This is okay, and it's really nice in healing situations, because healing spells aren't usually that potent. So adding Bardic Inspiration is a good way for the Bard to kind of stack that up. Damage, it's okay. It's not the most, because Bardic Inspiration is just usually 1 die, d6, d8, etc. But it's not bad. I say 7 out of 10. And then they get Bardic Versatility. You're going to see several versatility traits in this one. Basically, it says that when you reach a level that would give you either an ASI or feat, so in the Bard's case, 4, 8, 12, 16, or 19th level, you can change your expertises, the feature that Bards love to double their proficiency in specific skill checks. And you can change your cantrips. Normally that's something Bards, that most casters don't get to do at all. This allows you to do it when you hit specific points in the game. Not bad for reflavoring, swapping things out you thought would be useful but aren't. Good stuff. I say 9 out of 10. Now for Clerics, they get 3 new features. The first one is a new way to use Channel Divinity, Harness Divine Power. You can trade a use of your Channel Divinity to recover a spell slot equal to half of your proficiency bonus. So at the beginning of the game, that's a first level spell slot for a piece of your Channel Divinity. And late on the higher levels, it gets all the way up to a 3rd level spell slot. Not bad for an emergency revivify if you're completely out of spells. This is a really, really powerful feature since Channel Divinities come back on a short rest, so you can just give yourself a few extra spells and then get your Channel Divinities back. I say 10 out of 10 for this. You also get cantrip versatility. When you hit those specific ASI or feat levels, you can change out your cantrips. Clerics have quite a few cantrips that are both good and not so good, so experimenting in the early game and then swapping them out later is nice. I say 8 out of 10 for that. And then you can actually get Blessed Strikes. This replaces the Divine Strike or Potent Spell Casting that you would get at 8th level. And it just means that you can add 1d8 damage to your weapon strike or your cantrip damage. This is almost infinitely better than any of the other features that clerics get at 8th level. It's not infinitely better, like, in the sense that it breaks the character. It's just versatility that means you don't have to pick weapon or spell. You can add the damage to both. I give it 8 out of 10, a good feature that's really more for housekeeping purposes. Next up, Druids. They get 2 features. The first one is Wild Companion. You can use a charge of your wild shape in order to cast Find Familiar. You can keep the familiar, however, only for a number of hours equal to half your Druid level, so, you know, anywhere from 1 to 10. This is unfortunate because Find Familiar is one of those amazing spells that just lasts basically forever for most people who use it, but having one for a few hours is still a nice feature that can be a great utility and combat buff, so I give this 9 out of 10. You also get cantrip versatility. At the ASI or feat levels, you can swap out your cantrips, 8 out of 10, another one of those good features. Now, for fighters, you get 2 additional features. The first one is new options for fighting styles, and some really powerful ones were added in Tasha's. Blind fighting, which gives you a 10-foot blind sense, letting you fight invisible creatures, etc. And if you're blinded, it doesn't affect you. This is a great fighting style. There's a couple other ones that give you Battle Master maneuvers and lets you use them, like, occasionally. There's even unarmed fighting, which allows you to keep up with monks in case of your unarmed damage. A really nice buff for fighters. I say these are 10 out of 10. It gives you some really good additions to the fighting style list. And then martial versatility, when you get your ASI or feat, which for fighters is a little more often than most people, you can change your fighting style, and if you know Battle Master maneuvers from any source, you can swap them out. This is amazing for Battle Masters specifically, but it's also good for any fighter. I say 9 out of 10 for that. Now, monks get a couple features. They get 4. First is dedicated weapon. This allows them to take any monk or any weapon they're proficient with. So if you get like a racial proficiency, for example, it can do this. And then you meditate on it, and it becomes a monk weapon for you as long as it isn't heavy or two-handed. This means that you can take long swords, battle axes, D8 weapons effectively, and turn them into monk weapons, increasing your damage by a decent amount. This is a nice feature, and I give it 9 out of 10. You also get key-fueled attack. When you use your key points as your main action, you can't use things like unarmed or martial arts or flurry of blows to do additional unarmed strikes as your bonus action. They require the attack action first. This feature, key-fueled attack, says if you use key points as your main action, regardless of what you did, you can use a bonus action to do 1 attack with a monk weapon or an unarmed strike. So this just weaponizes your bonus action even if you aren't attacking with your main action. A decent feature that will just put more damage and more options out there for the monk, 8 out of 10. Then you get quickened healing. For the cost of 2 key points, you can roll your martial arts die, which by this point is a d6 and goes up in the game to a d10 eventually. And you get to add your proficiency bonus to it and heal for that much. So, you know, maybe 6 to 10 points of healing for 2 key points. it's a bad feature. It's a feature that I recommend no monk use. It's too expensive and doesn't heal you enough. If you used 1 key point and rolled your martial arts die twice and added your proficiency bonus, I would call this decent, if not good. But as it stands, 4 out of 10. Use it if you're about to die, and honestly, there are better things you could do with your key if that's the case. Step of the wind and run away. Finally, focused aim. You can spend 1 to 3 key points when you make an attack roll and miss, and add 2 to the attack roll per key point you spent, so up to a +6 if you use all 3. This is a great way to hit like a very important shot that you need to hit, but it is still an expensive use of your key. I think that, because you attack so many times as a monk, using key to just make one specific attack hit usually isn't worth it. It's worth it in very rare circumstances, so I'm just going to say 6 out of 10 for this one. So, that's the monk. We're about halfway through now. The Paladin is next. They get additional fighting style options as well. Blind fighting is still here. And they actually get something the fighter doesn't. Blessed Warrior. You can use your fighting style to actually gain cantrips. You can choose 2 Cleric cantrips. They count as Paladin spells for you. And that means that as a Paladin, you can have cantrips now, which you never had before, which is awesome. And I think that between that and blind fighting, you've got a 10 out of 10 feature here. I would honestly take Blessed Warrior a lot as a Paladin. It's worth giving up your weapon or your defense in order to get cantrips. You also get Harness Divine Power, just like the Clerics do, where you can trade your Channel Divinity for a spell slot equal to half your proficiency bonus. Again, it's a 10 out of 10 feature. I love it. And finally, Martial Versatility, where you get your ASI and feat levels, and you can swap your fighting style. This is okay. Fighting style is one of those things that you usually don't swap, but just in case you want to reflavor, I call it 7 out of 10. Now, Rangers had the biggest change in all of Tasha's. They got their entire class revamped. Loads of stuff in here. There is the Deft Explorer feature. This replaces your favored terrain thing. This gives you expertise in a specific skill at level 1, and also grants you a couple extra languages. At level 6, you gain extra speed. You gain 5 to your movement speed and a climbing and swimming speed as well, so that's solid. And at level 10, you can actually gain temporary hit points and recover from exhaustion on short rests rather than just long rests. These are all solid features, really add some flavor and power to the Ranger, and I say that this is a 10 out of 10 feature, especially compared to what you used to get. You also get Favored Foe. This is a replacement for Favored Enemy. This allows you to concentrate on a creature, similar to Hunter's Mark, doing an extra 1d4 damage to them on a hit once per turn. You can do this proficiency bonus times per day, or you can concentrate on it for up to a minute proficiency bonus times per day. This is effectively Hunter's Mark, the baby version. It's not that good. I'd honestly rather use Hunter's Mark than this. This is only good if you've run out of spell slots, or if you're level 1 specifically. After that, I wouldn't use it again. So it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's not great. I say 6 out of 10. Then there's additional fighting style options for the Ranger as well. Blind fighting is here, and you get Druidic Warrior. Just like the Paladin, you can snag 2 cantrips from the Druid spell list, and they count as Ranger spells for you. This, once again, widens up the fighting options for the Ranger, and I love Druidic Warrior. Getting some of the key Druid spells is very clutch, and if you don't like them, blind fighting is also great. Obviously, if you're a Ranger who wants to go into archery, take the archery fighting style like you've always had, but just having these really good options, 10 out of 10. Then there's Primal Awareness. This swaps out for Primeval Awareness, which used to give you, knowledge about the local area. And, instead of that, it just gives you more spells. It allows you to cast things like Speak with Animals, Speak with Plants, even Commune with Nature later in the game. And this is just nice. This is exactly what you wanted from your nature magic, except these are just good spells to have. It's not one of those things that breaks the game, it just makes your ranger better at doing the things you want to do with them. So I say 9 out of 10. Then you get your martial versatility. At your ASI or feat levels, you can swap your fighting style. That's 7 out of 10, not bad. And then finally, Nature's Veil. This is one of those things that replaces Hide in Plain Sight, which is an abysmal feature from the player's handbook. As a bonus action, you can turn invisible until the start of your next turn. This allows you to avoid opportunity attacks, make attacks with advantage, it doesn't require concentration, and you can do it proficiency bonus times per day. So by the point you get this, which I believe is level 10, that's, 4 times a day, and it goes up to 6 by the end of the game. This is great. Invisibility, even for one turn, is massive in D&D, and because it doesn't break your concentration when you attack, you can use it to gain advantage, you can use it to escape. It's great, and I say it's a 10 out of 10 power. Overall, the Ranger got a lot of new features, and if you want to play a good Ranger, use Tasha's, because it makes the Ranger so much better than they were in the player's handbook. Just a few more to go now. The Rogue just got one new feature, Steady Aim, and it's a good one. You can use your bonus action and sacrifice your movement. You can't do this if you've moved already, and if you use it, you can't move afterwards. So your movement's 0 for the round, and you use your bonus action, but it guarantees advantage on your next attack. This, because advantage is so key for rogues, this is usually worth the bonus action and the movement speed penalty in the event that you absolutely need your sneak attack. Obviously, there's other ways to get it, and you shouldn't be using this all the time. Cunning action is still amazing, but if you can't get advantage any other way, this is a good backup, and I say it's a 9 out of 10 power. Next up, we have Sorcerers. Sorcerers got a pair of new meta magic options in this book, Seeking Spell and Transmuted Spell. They're pretty mid options. They aren't as powerful as the ones in the player's handbook, mostly. They're okay for thematic purposes and for very specifically attack-based sorcerers, but they're certainly not in my top choices. I say 6 out of 10 for these. Then you get Sorceress Versatility. This allows you, when you get your ASI and feats, to swap your cantrips and swap your meta magics. And that's huge, because meta magic is the lifeblood of the sorcerer, and you only get a few of them. Getting to switch them at certain points in the game can really, really save your game. So 10 out of 10 for that. And then finally, Magical Guidance. If you fail on an ability check, you can spend a sorcery point and re-roll the ability check. That's just on-hand, that's on-demand advantage on ability checks as long as you've got sorcery points to burn. Whether it's persuasion, whether it's stealth, whether it's athletics, in that really awful situation you have to use athletics as a sorcerer. It's a great power and usually worth the sorcery points in order to get that clutch ability check. 9 out of 10. Next up, the Warlock. The Warlocks get a brand new Pact option, the Pact of the Talisman. This is honestly my least favorite Pact option. Chain, Blade, and Tome are better, but it still has its place. You get a special talisman and proficiency bonus times per day. You can add a D4 to ability checks of anyone who's wearing the talisman. You can even hand it off. It's kind of like a pseudo guidance. Not bad, and it does open up a few special invocations for you. Not the worst in the world. I say 7 out of 10. It's okay, but I'd still rather take Tome or Blade. And then you get Eldritch Versatility. When you have your ASI or feat levels, you can change your Pact Boon, changing from, Talisman to Tome if you chose the wrong one. Changing your cantrips, which is awesome, and even changing out your Mystic Arcanums if you know them, the high-level spells for Warlocks. Because you have so much here to change out, I have to give this 10 out of 10. It's great. Finally, the Wizard. The Wizard got one special feature, Cantrip Formulas, and I love this feature. This allows the wizard to change their cantrips, but unlike everyone else in the game, it's not when you reach the levels of an ASI or a feat. Oh no, it's when you long rest. When you take a long rest, you not only get your spell slots back, you can change a cantrip if you want to. This means that wizards effectively have access to all the cantrips. It's incredibly strong, and because wizards are the planners of the game, when they're choosing their spells for the day, they can also choose their cantrips, and that just is mind-blowingly strong. I love it, it's 10 out of 10, and it's perfect for wizards. All in all, Tasha's did amazing things for the game. It opened up Tasha's custom origin and custom lineage, gave us some of the best feats that are in the game to date, some amazing spells, and so many optional features, reshaping the game. It's great to hear that a lot of these features are becoming core features in the new player's handbook, and you can bet that when that book comes out, I'll be reviewing it day one. So make sure you stay tuned to my channel to hear about how D&D is going to be changing, hopefully for the better. This has been the Relaxed Fantasy Review. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe down below. Have a look for the join button down there, and I will see you guys next time. Have a good one, my friends.